Welcome to the Sports Chat. I'm sports editor Drew Rubenstein. I'm with Ed Owens. We're here in Dallas where day one of the Big 12 Media Days just ended. And Ed, the big news out of today is obviously Commissioner Bob Bowlesby. He fired a warning shot at the NCAA, kind of left off where SEC Commissioner Mike Slive left off last week and saying, hey, shape up NCAA. We're not messing around here. What did you take away from his comments? What was the most alarming thing, I guess, if you were the NCAA to come out of?
I think he questioned the enforcement. He said that basically the NCAA is hamstrung by their own rules and said they lack subpoena power and they can't really bring anybody to trial for any of the violations, anything that's going on. That was his chief concern. That was the first thing he mentioned, was that he wanted to see more power in the NCAA's enforcement right now.
And the thing that kind of stuck out from this year that's different than last year is, aside from that and the issues with the NCAA, it was really a media day that was all about football. It wasn't about realignment. It wasn't about what schools are coming and going. It was actually the teams themselves. So with that said, 5 teams were present today for today's version of Media Days. You had a chance to talk to players and coaches from 3 of them. I did 2 of them. Tomorrow, WVU is one of the 5 that'll be talking. But let's kind of go on a rundown of each of the teams that we spoke with. So let's first start off with you and Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas Tech was out in front, I think, because Cliff Kingsbury, front and center, brand new head coach for them, former player at Texas Tech. That was the big talk for the whole program. He brings an up-tempo style. He was the offensive coordinator at A&M last year, coached Heisman quarterback Johnny Manziel. A lot of people interested in that, and a lot of people wondering how that was going to translate for the Raiders this year.
And the first team that I really spent a lot of time with was TCU. Gary Patterson and the Horned Frogs are in year 2 of the Big 12, and kind of the big thing for TCU was they managed to find a way to win 7 games last year with 20-some freshmen, which I think everybody just kind of assumes they're going to be better because of that experience. And they also bring back quarterback Casey Pahal, who was suspended for a large portion of last season. But the message from the Horned Frogs is they won 7 games last year, but does that mean that they're necessarily going to improve just because of that experience, or do they just have a 7-win quality type of a team? And so TCU's in a little bit different position than last year, where last year they weren't as expected to do quite as well. Now they're considered one of the favorites in the league. Moving around the room, I know the next team that you had a chance to speak with was Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, preseason top pick in the Big 12 media poll, and that was the big talk for them. A lot of guys saying how they wanted to live up to their billing as the top pick. 2 years ago, they were coming off conference championship. This year, they're looking to get back there. So I think what they want to do is make sure that they don't kind of let the hype get to them. And it's a lot of the same stuff WVU was saying around this time last year when they were picked second.
Absolutely, and the other team that I had a chance to speak with was Kansas State, and it seems like it's the same story every single year with Kansas State, where the media always projects them to be 6th and 8th and 6th again this year, I think is where they've been the last 3 years, and each year they keep climbing the ladder, and obviously last year they were the Big 12 representatives in the BCS. You get the sense from the players and Coach Schneider that they really don't care where they're pegged, and Coach Schneider has said, last year if he had a vote, he would have put them at 99th, and he guesses that's where he would have put them again this year. Obviously, they moved without Colin Klein. They lost quite a few veteran players offensively and defensively, but that said, it seems like this is a program that has kind of thrived in that underdog role historically, and they once again have bought into that, and kind of going from top to bottom, even within the state of Kansas. The last team that you had a chance to speak with was Kansas.
Kansas, yeah, and talk about same story, different year for the Jayhawks. Picked to finish last, and basically to a man, they said they expected to be picked to finish last. They were 1-11 last year, and They said they'd given no reason for anybody to have any more faith in them than that, but they're determined to go out and prove people wrong. A lot of guys said that they were the most underrated team in this conference, that they did learn a lot from last year and from the mistakes they made, having Charlie Weiss in there, and they're looking to get going and get moving this year. They have a lot of things to prove.
And we'll wrap up here quickly. Tomorrow we'll be back bright and early. There's Oklahoma, Baylor, West Virginia, Texas, and Iowa State is the last one that'll be here tomorrow. That said, it's a 2-day festivity. It's much more of an event. put it in a little bit of perspective what this is like, this event, compared to what existed in the Big East.
Big East was a lot smaller. It was a one-day thing. You flew into Newport and you had the nice clam bake the night before and one round of interviews. You had the players for about an hour, the coaches for about an hour, and your day was done. We had 2 hours alone today with the different representatives from those 5 teams, not counting the press conferences. So, I mean, we'll expect the same access tomorrow. We'll get the same access tomorrow, and a lot of time to catch up on everything going around the Big 12.
All right, thanks a lot, Ed, for joining us. We'll be back in with Big 12 coordinator of officials, Walt Anderson, and then we'll jump right into all of the press conferences. We'll bring you Dana Holgerson's press conference and some videos from WVU's players as well. For Ed Owens, I'm Drew Rubenstein. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Sports Chat.